What's going on, guys? So, Michael Dinsmore, making sense. He very much impressed me with this newest clone. He's been talking about it randomly in live streams when he's been on there with me. And I told him I absolutely needed to try this because it's one of my favorite DNAs of all time. It's my first love iris fragrance. Of course, I'm talking about Prada L'Homme's DNA. This is my first love when it comes to iris fragrances. This is the first one I fell in love with that made me want to start exploring iris. Well, Mr. Michael Dinsmore made his own version. It's called Iris Man. I'm wearing it currently. I have the original on this wrist. I have Iris Man on this wrist, as well as several sprays around the neck of Iris Man. And I really want to talk to you guys about it. So stay tuned. So real quick, just to give you an idea in comparison to the notes, according to Parfumo, I do have them pulled up on screen, which I'll pull it up for you guys. Prada L'Homme has iris, amber, patchouli, neroli, geranium, pepper, violet, and cedar. This is according to Parfumo. And then Iris Man from Making Sense, top notes of neroli, black pepper, cardamom, carrot seeds, mid notes of iris, violet, geranium, and mate, base notes of amber, cedar, patchouli, ambergris, and sandalwood. So not identical note breakdowns, but I got to tell you, quite surprised by this one. I have Iris Man here on this wrist. Now, the openings where they differ is because this is a lower oil concentration. Making Sense version is an extrate, so it's a higher oil concentration. He only does extrates, which are 25% oil and above. I don't know exactly what concentration this particular fragrance is, but it's at minimum 25%. This is an eau de toilette, which is under 15%. So this is naturally going to be a brighter fragrance in the top. It's just the way it works. The lighter oil concentrations are always brighter in the top, project heavier in the first 30 minutes, and then that's where they start to separate one another because this is deeper, denser, and richer overall because of higher oil concentration of pretty much the same oils for the most part, and then the sillage is where this one's going to separate itself, as well as the longevity. Much, much higher oil concentration at minimum, because this is probably like a 12% eau de toilette, which is most designer eau de toilettes. So it's about, at minimum, 13% higher oil concentration. And I got to tell you, in the opening, you do get that soapy, fresh, powdery, lightly spiced tone that the original is known for. You get it in both. This is the original Prada L'Homme. Love this fragrance. Now, the spices are kind of amplified a little bit more. And I think it's due to the oil concentration with Iris Man. And you still get that soapy tone, a lot of the neroli and iris combination that this one is known for. As far as the opening, heart, and early dry down, I would say the opening, it's like a 7 to 8 out of 10, 70 to 80%, I guess you could say, similarity, because the brightness versus the depth and richness of this one kind of separates them. So the lighter oils in this one are going to be kind of more pronounced, I guess you could say, whereas the thicker oils are going to be more pronounced in this one. So the openings aren't identical. You can tell this is a clone of this. There's no two ways about it. There's no denying it. I would say a 75%. Let's split the difference between 70 and 80. 75% similarity, with the only difference being because of the brightness of the openings, because of the oil concentrations. But as far as the actual scent profile, much closer and more tight-knit than that. As they start to settle, it becomes much, much closer. We're talking in that 85 to 90% range of bordering becoming a one-to-one clone and copy, because I really don't detect a quality difference from either one. Like, this doesn't smell like a higher quality version. This doesn't smell like a cheaper or higher quality version. They pretty much smell on par with one another. This is basically just an amped up oil concentration version of this. I'm very impressed with how Mike was able to compose this. He said he went through several attempts and renditions trying to perfect it, because this is one of his personal favorites as well. And he didn't want to put it out unless it was up to par, up to standard, because this is such a well-beloved fragrance. He didn't want a smells like clone. He wanted a clone. And I think Mike absolutely nailed it. Now, as far as the longevity, I've only had it on my skin for a few hours now. The strength has not faded. It's settled into its sillage. It's a pretty decent bubble. I keep getting random whiffs of it. Just a few minutes ago, before I started filming this video, I'd sprayed the one spray on my wrist of the original just so I could compare the openings, and I had sprayed another one here because I did have 4 sprays around the neck already of Iris Man. Wife really digs it. She caught a nice whiff of the trail when I walked by her to go get the mail earlier, and she said, "Ooh, that smells nice and clean." That was her words, which it is a clean fragrance. It's very soapy, a lot of neroli, but the spices kind of take over this fragrance as it starts to dry down. Kind of the deepness of it overall shines through a bit more in the higher oil concentration. This, in some ways, is superior to the original because of the density. Like you get a richer scent without it smelling like the intense flanker. Like, I'm actually quite impressed, so much so that I'm compelled midway through a wearing or early into my first wearing of this to do this video. I really think Mike knocked this one out the park. This is a great way to spend a little bit of money and get a lot more out of Prada L'Homme because of the performance that this one seems to be getting, the higher oil concentration. 20 bucks on this 17 ml will probably go about as far as a 50 ml of this would, as far as performance versus ml versus bang for your buck for the dollar. So it's not often that I say go after the clone, but in this instance, like I said, I was so excited about this fragrance and so happy with the result of how it smells and what I'm getting from it on my skin currently that I wanted to jump on camera and talk to you guys about it and say that I'm definitely advocating that this is the way to go. I would definitely try to get a sample and see how you feel about it personally if you were looking for a stronger version of this. And I mean, literally, it's that simple. This is a higher oil concentration, longer lasting version of Prada L'Homme. So that's my thoughts and feelings on the new Iris Man from Making Sense, his clone of the ever so popular Prada L'Homme. Mike nailed it. I'm super impressed. I will link Making Sense website down below. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. How many of you have already tried this, and what do you think about it? I know I'm not the first to the game, but I'll tell you what, I'm one of the happiest. I guarantee you, I'm one of the happiest with the way this turned out because, like I said, it's a big nostalgia pick for me. This is one of those fragrances that just makes me happy because this was the first Iris fragrance that I didn't blind buy it. I actually smelled it at a Prada store at the Galleria Mall in Houston, fell in love, bought a bottle, made me start wanting to explore Iris more. I started diving into the Dior Homme line and then some more niche irises and so on and so on. So big emotional tie to this fragrance for my personal fragrance journey. So to see an enhanced version of it makes me quite happy. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on Iris Man from Making Sense and you give it a spray now, pretty damn confident you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.